where do we find the Legends as the new season picks up?
Oh, goodness. Well, right where we left them at the end of season 6 is where we pick up from them, that moment that the Wave Rider got blasted to smithereens. So we'll pick up with them right from that disaster. And, they're going to be scrambling a bit. They suddenly don't have their home anymore. The place that they've lived on for, the last 6 years is suddenly destroyed. And they are going to have to learn very quickly that without the normal resources at their disposal, doing anything is going to be very difficult. And the quest to get home becomes the drive of the entire season. And they'll have to use, whatever is available to them right now, which at this point is what exists in 1925 to accomplish that mission. And of course, that's going to be incredibly challenging, as it always is, and also a lot of fun.
No, it's also more of a challenge because they recently lost both Mick and John, correct?
Yes, both Mick and John are now no longer part of the team, but as per usual, there will be some surprise new legends joining the trip as they go forward.
Well, judging from the costumes in the promotional photos, can we expect a circus?
Yes, we can. There will be a circus, and this is of course different from the usual circus that the Legends kind of inherently is.
A photo was recently seen of Nate in costume. Can we look forward to seeing the team in costumes again at some point?
You will see Nick Zano and Katie Lotz in their old costumes at some point this season.
Nice. Well, will season 7 feature any appearances by some old friends returning?
Yes, there is a very exciting episode in this season, which is our 100th. And in that 100th episode, we're going to see some very familiar, very beloved faces.
Nice. Is there an Arrowverse character that you would love to see on Legends someday, but just haven't been able to make it work?
Oh, goodness, Batwoman. I would love to have Batwoman hang out with our crew. I think she would fit right in. I think everyone would love her, and I think she would have such a fun energy with our crew. Obviously, she's got her own show, so that's going to be a little impossible. But I think, again, if I could have my pick of the Arrowverse litter, it would be her.
Will we ever see Sarah's sister or dad again?
That remains to be seen. That is, I think we're always open to it. I think it's a very deep and meaningful connection that we'd love to explore at some point. We don't have any set plans right now, but it's always possible.
Well, speaking of connections, can you talk about any new friendships that may form in season 7?
Oh, goodness. Well, we have some very meaningful sort of deepening of connections, I guess. I think everyone on the ship are pretty much friends. They all really care about each other. I'd say we're going to see a real exploration of the very deep friendship between Astra and Spooner this season. This is something that started towards the end of last season, and we're really building on it in this season. Not only do the actresses really adore one another and have so much fun working together, but we just found their friendship chemistry to be so compelling. So we're writing towards that a lot. But then there's also, the connection between, the Legends and, the new character for Matt Ryan, who will be joining partway through the season, and his arc will have a very meaningful impact on all of our Legends, but particularly like Behrad and him will have this really sweet connection that will form, and we'll, be revisiting sort of the connection between Zari 2.0 and Nate in a very meaningful way. These are two people who in one iteration are lovers, but in another iteration are friends. And, I think exploring that, the push and pull between that is something that's really interesting to us.
Can you talk about that thing in the Legends universe where characters encounter people who look just like people they already knew, but aren't the same personality?
I think for a long time, particularly in Arrow, we always tried to have some sort of explanation for it. It was like, oh, it was their ancestor, so they look exactly alike because that's how ancestry works. Um, or it was a doppelganger, or it was, there was always some sort of offhand or explicit or not explicit explanation for why we had an actor not play the same character. In this case, we're just kind of saying, you know what? No, this is just who it is. And Matt Ryan is such a different character in Gwyn Davis than he was with John Constantine. In a way, it's so transformative that I certainly never needed an explanation, and I hope the audience doesn't demand one, because I just don't think it's important. I think at this point, it's like, this is a man who on one character we needed to sunset, but I think this new character is full of possibilities and is so distinct from that other one that any sort of explanation would feel sort of extraneous.
Okay. Well, Gwyn Davis is based in science, correct? As Constantine
Mhm.
magic, is that right?
Yes, absolutely. He's, so again, very, very different character, both sort of on the external biography, but also just internally and mannerisms and everything. He's completely different.
So, what was your reaction the first time you saw like the dailies of him in his new
Was
character?
my reaction was excitement. I was just like, wow, this is really popping. This is feeling so fresh and so wonderfully you know unique, as a energy to have on our ship. And that's something that Phil and I always get so excited about when we bring a new flavor into the mix of our legends stew, is this wonderful opportunity to add something that will make it pop in a whole new way, and shake up the dynamics between our characters. And that is absolutely what's happening with the addition of this doctor.
Are you able to say how many episodes are planned for season 7?
I actually don't know. Nikki, am I allowed to say that?
Yep, totally allowed.
Okay, we have 13 episodes.
Okay, fantastic. And are you all still hoping to keep going for season 8?
Absolutely, of course. Yeah, I mean, until the CW tells us not to, we're planning on there being a season 8.
Nice. When you all broke the end of season 6, did you all have a good idea of when or how things would start back up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of had to. We had a very, very quick turnaround between seasons. In fact, one season kind of just led to the next, particularly for myself and Phil. We didn't, there was no break. It was just like, okay, we finish shooting, one, we finished the cut on it, and suddenly we are now breaking episode 701. So for us, it always felt kind of like one story immediately bleeding into the next. And of course, that's how we ended the last season, with something that we knew we were going to have to jump right back to and explain how the legends were going to deal with it.
Is it exciting for you to have the episodes airing so soon after the previous season? So, because I feel like there was one year where we had like a whole year between episodes.
That was last year. I mean, between seasons 5 and 6, it was, an excruciatingly long wait, but that was because of COVID, and because we had to delay both the writer's room and actually we didn't delay the writer's room. We started writing pretty much right away, but then we had COVID hit, which meant that production couldn't get going until months later than it was supposed to, which meant that our air date was going to get pushed. So it was, that I feel like there was a very long break in between those. And that was really hard because we basically had written an entire season and no one had seen a frame, and it was very strange. But normally at least there's some overlap, where we're maybe halfway through the season as the next one is, as people are finally getting introduced to what we're exploring this season and starting to react to the things that we're setting up, that we're then in the process in the writer's room of paying off and, figuring out where they land. And so this year is definitely going to be unique in that we have the quickest turnaround I think we've ever had in between seasons, both for the writing and producing of it, but also for the audience's consumption. I mean, what is it, 6 weeks? 8 weeks? It's
But it's
very
great because it picks
short.
up where it left
Yeah.
off. So it's like,
Yeah. So we're sort of making up for the lost time between the previous seasons, where we're saying, all right, well, here you go. Here's more.
do you have any final words you want to say to the fans who will be reading this about, just their continued devotion to this wacky band of characters.
Well, I will say that I'm really proud of this season. I think we're taking some big swings, as we often do, but I think they're really paying off as we are now, in the process of wrapping up our story in the writer's room. I think seeing these new episodes or the episodes airing and feeling hopefully the positive feedback that we'll get is very exciting to us, because it's different. It's not what we've done before. And I think that's always kind of our goal when we set out to break and produce a new season, is like, what haven't we done and how can we challenge our characters in a new way? And I think, tantalize audiences and let them know that, it's going to be a fun, wild ride, but, trust us, we love these characters as much as you do. And we want it all to come together in a satisfying way.
Nice. I did have one other thing I was curious about. Will we get new opening titles later in the season?
You will get new opening titles. Yes, you will get them. You will get them fairly early in the season, actually.
I assume they weren't in the premiere because we haven't met certain people yet.
Yes, but I think it might actually be episode 2. You'll see some new titles.